Next VCR to look at, it's another portable VCR. This one's JVC, and the model is, I don't know, it doesn't say it very clearly anywhere. It's an HRS or something like that. A JVC video cassette recorder, model HR-2200. And it's old. Yeah, so you plug this into your camera. It's another one of those ones. So this VCR you plug into a camera and then you carry it with you. It's pretty heavy, quite heavy compared to those National Panasonic ones we're looking at, which are nice and compact. This is probably much older. You put a battery in there. Look at this. This is the battery that goes in it. It's, I don't know what it is, so it says on here. It's an NBP1 12 volt 1.8 amp hour lead acid battery, I presume. Otherwise it would have turned to fluff and crust, so this will be completely dead, but yeah, that goes in there. Makes it even more heavy. So let's not do that. So let's have a look over this thing. It's got a mechanical eject, which is pretty exciting. On the front panel here, there's a power switch, which is mechanical push type, and it's got a record lock. Presumably that's to prevent accidental recording, maybe? Not sure. There's a counter, you have a little tiny LCD screen, reset and memory buttons for that. Then there's the tape transport controls, pause, audio dub, record, reverse, like rewind, play, forward. No, that's actual, they call it shuttle search. Yeah, review and forward, shuttle search, play, and then the actual stop it and rewind, stop it and fast forward, and the stop button there. And there's a couple of connectors, microphone, earphone, a wired remote control, which I do have somewhere, but again, I'm not sure where that's located at the moment. The 10-pin camera connector to connect to your video camera. Normal and slow tracking, which suggests there's a slow motion feature, which I think, yeah, is on the remote. I remember that. It's got a variable resistor to adjust the slow speed. Shame I don't know where it is right now. Anyway, I'm not sure whether this will work or not, but we'll find out. So battery in there. On the side, on the back, it's got a connector for a tuner AC adapter, tuner or AC adapter, whether the recording source is line in or the tuner. There's video in and out terminals B and C, and there's audio in and out on 3.5mm phono jack, which is kind of weird, and an RF out connector, and there's nothing on the other side. So this thing, camera connector, you plug it into a camera, and I've got a couple of examples here which perhaps we'll take apart in the next few videos. This one's a GX88E pistol grip style. It's even got powered zoom, even though the zoom lever is right there. I'm not sure why you need that to record. Start stop switch there. There's a CRT viewfinder of some sort in there. There's also power zoom controls up here. Earphone, microphone, remote connectors. Filter for indoors or sunlight. A shutter, I think that's for handling bright light. There's a white balance adjust. I guess it's some kind of auto white balance. And there's an iris control, manual, auto, or I think backlight compensation to tone it down a bit when there's bright backlit subjects. And that's it for that. But how do you hook this up to the VCR? Well, the other weird thing it does is that turns round, which is not for holding it because it doesn't lock like that. I think it's for when it's mounted on a tripod, so it gets the handle out of the way. Kind of weird. Anyway, the cable plugs into there. There's a multi-way DIN plug in there. Here's another one. This one is a GX44. And I think it's got almost exactly the same everything. a little heatsink there, except it doesn't have those extra plugs like microphone and remote. Oh no, it's got a microphone there. There's a better view of the cable connector that goes to back to the VCR. Probably the same viewfinder in there. Same sort of controls, IRS, backlight compensation, then that standard and adjust white balance. It's the same stuff as on this, just in like button and switch type form instead of these like concentric knob things. And then those indoor, outdoor iris things are there. No power zoom on this, so you just use the manual zoom ring. Neither of these have autofocus, so it's just turn that. And there's a mic there. This one, microphone, is there, so I can hear a nice hand noise cruffling around on it. And that's, yeah, so now I would like to turn those on, but the state of the cables leaves a lot to be desired. They've been sealed in these bags for years because they've just turned into absolute mush, and this green juice is coming out of them. And the other one in there is even worse. The whole thing's just gone into this gross oily mess, so it's wrapped up double bagged. So if we're sufficiently brave, we might pull those out and try turning on the cameras in another video where we take apart the cameras. But for now, we're not going to do that because we're going to play with the VCR instead. But that's not all. Here is the AC adapter battery charger thing, which is an AAP22EG multi-voltage input, and interesting, that's set to 220. Okay, it goes 110, 127, 220, 240 volts. So I guess you can take this with you when you're traveling for powering up your portable VCR. Interesting slide to lock type of DIN plug. But that's not all. Also got here the tuner. Now that is a fixed, I just noticed before, I was looking at that because I wanted to see what voltage these things are. It's fixed to 40 volt input, 50 or 60 hertz. Not 220 or 230, 240. It seems very UK or old school Australia or something. So there's little feet on that. Noticing how there's these dents in there. Maybe they've provided little spacer things that allowed you to stack the VCR onto the tuner. Don't know, it's definitely had something sitting there. So this has got all the rest of the stuff that you'd see to make a complete VCR. The off, on timer selection for the power, a start charging thing, video, TV, VTR selection, the clock setting stuff there, and a channel lock, and then the channels for the tuner, which then you can change the numbers that show up. They call it A to L, but then you can put in different these things depending on what channel number that is for where you happen to be. And then the tuning part is in here, so you can set what stuff you want to have on there. And it says look, closed door while recording, because there's an automatic fine tuning controller thing that gets turned on when that rod pushes into there, I guess. Then yeah, on the back, it's like an old school, quite fuse type fuse holder, aerial, nothing else. Should try and juice this thing up. See if there's any signs of life. So that plug into the adapter connector. Good. Now we need, this stuff is really heavy. This is probably full of steel. Now let's connect this power up to it. See, oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's still active even though it's not even on. It's on now. There's the tuner. This is really interesting because to me that looks bright green, but on the camera it shows as a blue color. Set the clock. Awesome. Start the charging. Okay, so that's a tuner. It's pretty straightforward, not much really goes on there. And then for the VCR, let's try turning it on. Yeah, something's spinning. It seems to be running the capstan. It was. I don't know if that's a sign of it. No, not broken. Look at that. It uses a light bulb for the end sensor. That's old school. Let's see it in there. A light bulb. Okay, I think what we should do is take the cover off of this first, and then we'll try running it and see what happens. Now, I can't even remember how to open this thing, but let's just attack some screws and see what happens. Taking the... might have to get this tuner thing out of the way for a while we work on the VCR mechanism. Now this one you have to have open in order to undo the screws to take the lid part off, which is possibly a problem if you've got a tape stuck in there. It says in there, shock hazard, do not open. A little bit confusing since this will all be 12 volts or less. A little bit misleading. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I guess there's a shoulder strap would go on that. I think I threw away, I think I had some kind of leather case that was all clapped out that got thrown away. Just a vague memory of that. It's quite crustified. Does this lift off? It does, look at that. Ah, look, the whole back part of it, where the battery goes. I suppose that was pretty obvious, because we saw it. There's a cover over this part. Let's take that off and have a look under there. This is perhaps pretty simple to open and compared to the Panasonic ones. Some kind of plastic metallized shielding plate thing. Battery terminals. Some boards. There's a main board on the bottom there. Perhaps we'll just take the bottom off as well so we can have a look at that while we're here. Some adjustments, slow motion preset and V-lock under little doors. Oh, look at that, a rusted motor. That's great. And another motor there in a kind of rubbery housing thing. I would leave the front on for now because we want to look at where the controls are. This looks all nice and old and crusty, doesn't it? It's very JVC looking. This stuff has different manufacturers have different appearances. Okay, that comes off. Different appearances to their stuff. Now, is this cord long enough? We can just leave the tuner thing over there. Let's see. But we do want to hook up to the video out in case something good happens with that. We might as well do that in hope that something good will happen, because you never know. Actual proper BNC. Oh, actually, more exciting than that. Does it matter? I don't know. Here we go. Look at this. It's a JVC, a TMP3 compact video monitor. I think it's definitely a bit newer than this VCR, but it's got a sunshade. So that's a 3-inch color CRT monitor, which you can put either this power supply or battery on the side there. Perhaps we'll get that out when we're looking at the VCR that was from the same age as it. But yeah, the reason why this is here right now is because for audio, you see they provide that phono plug, whatever you call that thing, and that's what they have on here. So it's the actual thing that JVC likes to do. Like their home VCRs from this era use a DIN plug for the audio in and out just to make things annoying, and then their portable VCRs use these phono plugs instead of the RCA just to make them annoying too. Not really sure what the deal is with that. Anyway, perhaps we'll look at that monitor another day when we're doing the more newer JVC Portable VCRs, since it will be of the era. Okay, well that's hooked up. Let's grab a tape that we don't mind destroying and we'll see if this does anything. Fast forward. Yes. Rewind, yes. Play. Maybe it's all perfect. It definitely ain't perfect, but it's a thing. It's sort of working, but the picture won't really be good enough to capture, I don't think. So there's picture there, but it's got a lot of crust on it. Pretty sure, yeah, this is definitely just a 2-head VCR, so the pause won't be much better. The forward doesn't work because the belts are slipping or the idler thing's slipping. Yeah, there you go. That's what it looks like, except it's flashing around a lot. Yeah, I would think that this is suffering from worn out caps and things. Worn out? Yeah. Leaky capacitors, worn out capacitors, all the usual stuff. It might start going about after letting it warm up for a while. So looking at that, the boards there are connected by direct connectors, so we can't open this up anymore while it's running, because that board there is tying the two bottom boards together, and that board is also doing the same thing from the other side. It looks like they're all single-sided boards except for this one here, because this one's got those sort of early day through-hole thingies, the ones that break easily. Yummy. Let's take it apart more and inspect very carefully the boards to see whether it's evident of capacitors old. You can't push eject while it's playing, it must lock that out. Oh, what we should do is check. Could be the head's dirty, but it didn't really look like a dirty head situation. It looked more like major problems a situation. So if it's playing and you push the forward button, it starts going forward. Well, it tries to. But if you push the fast forward button, it should stop, unthread, then go into fast forward mode. And then you can hit play to go back. And yeah, there's the tape counter. We're up to 49. Was there a different tape? I don't know if that will help or not, just in case it's tracked differently. Well, the alignment is different of it, perhaps. I think so, because these two tapes I know came from the same source, so were probably recorded with the same machine. This one is no better. Wow, it actually looks worse. Well, it might just be that what was on it is run out, because we're near the end. Well, this tape's got lots of dodgy bits on it, so it might not be a very good idea to rewind it back. That stuff probably used to move faster. Oh, did it get upset because I touched it? There's some solenoids in here doing some good work. Anyway, tired old VCR. Let's take it apart a bit more so we can investigate the electronics and mechanical parts. Now, what have we got here? The front was already trying to come off, so I think that will just pull off. Or is it hooked? Oh, it just sort of latched over at the front. Look at that, good quality board on the front. Oh, there must be some capacitor there that holds the memory. Yeah, reset and memory buttons. Those buttons from the front, those controls, that's pretty long range. Look at that, they dig down all the way into there. And switches. Oh, I think they're on the sideboard there. Interesting. There's a TO220 device upside down with a little heatsink on top of it there. Screwed on. Capacitors on leggies, like extended out down there. The record prevention switch there. This little leaf switch sitting there. Toshiba branded 4000 series logic chips. Wow, that's exciting. There's the tracking controls. Ah, this is also a double-sided board. As you can see, it's got the via through-hole thingies in several places. It looks like, interestingly, they've doubled them all up. They've got, in pretty much every place, 2 of them. That's interesting. That must be a failure mitigation strategy. That's really interesting. I don't remember seeing that in the Panasonic ones. So these guys must know how bad they are and have doubled them up to try and get this thing a little bit more reliable. I wonder how that's connected on. Oh, it looks like more board-to-board connectors from there onto there. Is that also a double-sided board? Okay. So my initial estimation, or thought that it was just this bottom one, which has also got the doubled up wires. It's actually three boards double-sided and 4 single-sided boards. Okay, let's pull them all out and look at them. No red screws, so we're just unscrewing in the dark pretty much. This is, despite being double layered, there's still needed to have a bunch of wire links on here. The capacitors on this board don't appear to be leaking or bad, so that's good. I'm going to do this front way so that it's easier to get some purchase for the screwdriver. I can't remember if I've opened this up very far before. Guess not. It's also interesting that they use LEDs on the front here, but why is there a light bulb in there for the tape end sensing? Is it... well, I don't know. Like, weren't infrared LEDs good back then? Maybe not. Do you have to take that one out as well? Probably. Really good use of different length screws. That's 3 different length screws just from this front board. It makes installation a breeze. Now, is there something else in there? Oh, look, these here are just knobbies and the actual tracking controls from the bottom board. The 3.3 farad cap under there, that must be what's holding that up. But we can't get it off because there's a bunch of wires that come in from under there somewhere. The bottom board's off next. I wonder if it must have got wet or had some corrosion. Well, it must have got wet and it's caused some corrosion wet at some point. Now, I think we need to... oh, look, there's a screw down here holding that I/O terminal thing on, because I don't think there's any point unscrewing those 2, because you'd have to desolder all the terminals to actually release it. And that's another different type of screw. Okay. So ready to release these. And one on this side. Oh, that comes off cleanly. Oh, look at that. When you plug in that adapter connector, there's a switch that gets pushed. It must switch from battery mode into powered from the adapter mode, and maybe switches on a charger, or the ability for there to be a charger. Interesting that these are Elner branded boards. This is a Y-amp, like the brightness part of the picture. And there is also Elner branded electrolytics on it. It's a Hitachi HR-2200 with like end heatsinky things on it. The RF modulator's there, which appears to be plugged in with an edge connector onto that. Guess that makes it possible to replace it or change it to different channels or something. We get to see the start of the mechanism. There's various things there. Look at that. Look at that thing. It's like a multi-legged TO220 wide body type deal. Look at that. That's pretty exciting. Various transistors and then bigger transistors. Some screwed down to the heatsink, others just flapping around in the breeze. This thing seems to have a number of motors. Ah, that's like what that is the driver for the head drum. So that's a brushless DC motor, whereas the other things, that, reel motor, loading motor, capstan motor, are all DC motors. Next layer. Not so easy because this is some wires as well, but look at it. Whoopsie, there's another screw we've got to undo. Don't want to do that and munt it by bending the boards too much. Ah, so that has to be unplugged. All that stuff. Hitachi and Toshiba chips throughout. What if there's some date codes we can get off these? NEC chip? And there's little rectangular style transistor things. Ah, look at that, there's a friendly solenoid. Oops, that's pushed in now. Oh, it's a bistable type. Got a magnet on it. Yes, that must be to save battery power, I guess. So it doesn't have to be energized the whole time. Might not be any leaking caps. Maybe it's all good. Yeah, that's good stuff in there. The ferrites on the wires to the motor. Position rotation sensor thing there. Similar under there, there's a position thing. Belt sort of holding up just. Super cap there. One wire soldered on going to that. Interesting that there's more bodge wires just soldered on there randomly. Yeah, I think because these are all Japanese parts, the semiconductors, they don't have dates or date codes on them that I can understand. Let's pull the side one off and have a look in there as well. Looks very system controlling. No, it says audio CPU. Maybe it's audio and CPU. What is this bottom one that we got off? Servo. That's the servo board. Okay, oh no, this isn't going to come out because it's got heaps of wires joined onto it. Like heaps. And then there's also something else up here that's stopping. Ah, yeah, wires. Oh no, wires have already started becoming unplugged. There. Whatever that is now unplugged. It's not a good look, is it? So there isn't steel in here. I predicted there'd be steel in it, but no, it's all aluminum, and the chassis is actually plastic. So they have attempted to make it lightweight, but there's so much of this stuff, it is still pretty heavy. I'm guessing this backboard here will be a head amp type deal. Oh yeah, look at that. No? Oh yes. Yes it is. So from the back of the video head, there's some wires that go into a little tiny board, then there's a socket there, and then there's a header in there inside that enclosure. And there it is. So there's the amplifier business for the RF signal. Ah, it's this sound. Yeah, record FM and record color maybe? Color? I don't know about that. Col for, so that's the record signal there, and then the playback signal's on this side because it says there playback col. There's also this PAL CCAM. Must be some kind of adjustment. Oh no, it indicates NTSC. There's a different part, and then PAL CCAM is that one. So it's first stages of decoding the video signal there before it goes to this, presumably. This is the one that doesn't tell you what it is. Presumably that's the color, since the one, that first one we pulled off was the Y, the like picture signal. Yeah, it says up here in copper, chroma PWB. So that's the color signal processed by that side. Oh, it's also got the battery terminals on it, which might not come off easily. I wonder if we can just do these. Probably not. Or will that just bring the terminals with us? I don't know how they are attached. Oh yeah, that's good. Is there anything good to see on the other side there? Fair bit of business going on there. Yes, that's the color decoding board. Got all the links and wires all over it. Big mess of stuff. You can see there's the tape end sensor. Plastic bracket attaching it. There's a light sensor that picks up the light from that light bulb just in there. The other one's over there, the corresponding start sensor. So when the tape rewinds fully and the clear leader comes out, then that light will shine through. And then when the tape is fully used up, finished, at the end, then the clear end leader will come off and the light will shine through and it will know that the tape's at the end, and it will stop and possibly rewind it for you if it's generous or nice. And checked. Yeah, it's a standard sort of deal under there. There's an idler wheel which flops back and forth to rotate the supply or take up reels, and the same sort of deal for back tension using that post there. Back tension band is in below the reel there. It's all standard stuff. Oh yeah, there's a metal part up in this part of the mechanism to hold the tape guides, since they need to be fairly precise. Then everything else is just on this plastic chassis, and there's the motor for the driving the reels. Excellent, that's your JVC Portable VCR. Should start putting this thing back together. Any questions? Yeah, let's look inside the tuner as well. Since we're here, we might as well do that. And maybe also that AC adapter thing, although that's probably not going to be very exciting. It will be a transformer and some kind of regulator thing. Yeah, I did notice there is a little PTC heater on the back edge of the video head there, little green thing. So that will probably be powered from the tuner to make sure that the video head stays slightly warm, and then it won't get condensation on it when you bring it into, like, out from the cold into a warm indoor environment. Because if that happened, if condensation formed on it, then the tape head's gonna get munted, because the tape will stick to it. Will that go on? Yeah, more or less. I think it's not. Oh, there we go. Not quite lined up right. That's probably the wrong screw. It feels like it should be a shorter one. Why you don't have different length screws? It is a hassle, because you can't remember which one goes where. But there's probably, look in the service manual and it will tell you all about different length screws and why you put the right ones in the right place. Oh yeah, but there was that plug that came off and we didn't plug it back in, and that goes somewhere. Oh, that goes here. At least that one's not too difficult. But that other one, somewhere, it's in there. Well, oopsies, now that's getting munted as well. Good, put back together a VCR that doesn't work without doing anything to try and make it work. Good, that goes back in there. That one had the Sims style screws with the split washers and flat washers on them for some reason. Well, it's because it's going into the middle, I think, and because I'm grounding it to the middle. Except for that one where it's got a plastic washer on it. So that one's insulated. I wonder if that's like a noise RFI type mitigation. They should use one of those TO220 screw thread isolator things on that screw. Interesting. Now this board here, might be related to that wire that we need to work out how to put back in. Wow. There's another board with just a massive capacitor on it. One screw holding that, and heaps of wires coming off of it. Okay, that wire that came off, it's a blue and a white wire coming from over here somewhere, and it's really not long enough. So the plug just got yoinked out, and it's all deep in there. We can't see because it's blocked by other wires. See if we can get that back on. Oh, there we go. Good, so that's another cap, but it's also like some kind of power distribution thing. And then that is some other thing. Does it say anything on it? An S detector. So there's an S detector there. Oh, there's another solenoid there. Maybe that's the one that brings the pinch roller in. That's possible. Don't love a good S detector. Sync maybe? Who knows? Oh, but when that board's in, you can't get to the screw to hold that one in, but you can't get that one in and out when the other one's in. That's awesome. Cutting edge design. Okay, and this board here with a shielding spring thing down to the middlework that plugs over these connectors. Wonderful. Ah, some of those screws come from the outside world, don't they? Because they're the ones that come through from the bottom panel. And these are all the wrong length still. It seems like all the screws are too long. Or were they just really stiff to take out? Who knows? The shorter ones go in way easier. Alright, that's enough of that. We're going to have a look at the... I guess a lot of those long ones came from here, didn't they? The front panel. Oh, wasn't there another wire we had to plug in? Oh no, I did do that. It was from that board. It's nice that they reinforced the camera connector quite well, so when you're launching on it, it doesn't snap off that easily. Got 3 decent screws and a pretty decent bracket thing that it's mounted to, stopping it from breaking off. That's pretty good effort. Okay, that's tracking control knobbies. And there was the special machine thread style screw that holded that terminal block thing on down there. Great. So we're just going to pop this to the side and we'll take a look in the tuner. Let's look in the AC adapter first. See what goodness it has within. It's quite big and heavy. Does it have a power rating? 70 watts. Wow. I don't know if that's because, well, I don't know. It's a 2 amp hour, 1.8 amp hour battery. 12, like 30 watts charging, I guess, if they charge it at its like nominal rate. Okay, I guess the back comes off. I wonder why it's 70 watts. Charging the battery and running a whole VCR at once, plus a camera connected. I guess so. Plus a lossy EI style transformer. That's probably got 5 watts pouring off of it. Well, it says that output 12 volts, 1.8 amps, and that's it. That's barely 20 watts. Oh, look at that. Fully crustified. There's some wiring through there for the AC side. And there's an insulated power switch in there. And there's a lot of wires there because it's a multi-tap primary because of the voltage selector. 4 different voltages that can be selected. And then it looks like, well, there's 2 secondaries perhaps. One on this side on blue wires. And one on this side with either, I think it's red wires. And they go into a board deep inside there, which is encased in the heatsink. And there's some power devices there. I wonder if we can get that off. And then we're probably going to have all the stuff again in the tuner. Wow. In addition to a tuner. And nothing else pretty much. Nice. Okay, so from the bottom, is it just one screw to undo this? I don't know, it's got a massive washer there. What do we need to undo the feet and everything else as well? Look at that, why has it got such a big washer on it? What does that do? I think it's screwed down to a metal plate that's inside this. It's a hassle. No? Yeah. That's the power supply thing. I don't really want to take it apart, it's really dirty. I want to look in the tuner more than this thing. See if it uses the same transformer. Well, it won't, because the tuner will have one that's got a filament coil as well for driving the VFD. Unless this one does have that and they use it for driving that PTC thing to keep the VCR warm. Interesting, they didn't disclose any other output voltages on this. On the back. This wire here comes from the cable? Nope. No, that comes from the regulators over there. It's down there. There are 2 cores, well, 2 pairs. Was it more? There's actually 5 wires going down this wire to the VCR. So presumably that's like the heater, the 12 volts, and perhaps the current regulated one for the charging. That would be my guess of what's going on there. Another pretty annoying to take apart thing. Something let rip on there. could just be that it was touching a bit of wire and it's just started eating into it, which is the sort of thing you get these days with this old stuff. It's like 50 years, no, not 50, 40 years old. Maybe it is nearly 50. This will be early 80s, I'd say. Yeah, we didn't find a date code. Screws are so stiff, maybe it's corroded a bit. That handle's gone all sticky. Stuff's all degrading. Great, final act. Let's have a look inside the tuner. I'm guessing that comes apart in a similar fashion to the charger with some screws at the back. There's nothing in these holes. Maybe it is just 2 screws at the back and then it will lift off. Oh, there you go. Whoa, full of spider webs. Cobwebs. Okay, we've got some regulators there. Aluminum plate there. 2 power regulators on there. Transformer. RF switching thing there. Probably a bit of an RF booster as well. This is fixed voltage. And there's no power switch on the front other than the electronic one. It's got the actual AC switch on the back. So all the AC wiring is confined to that area there. And it's just a tuner. More regulators in there. There's also that resistor, power resistor, that white one. Oh, there's another one there. I was going to say there's one of those in the charger thing as well. But yeah, more power devices on heat sinks at the back. I wonder if we can look under this thing. There's a multitude of stuff here. Now it looks like there's 2 layers to this. There's another board directly under this one here. Yeah, look, there's that switch that gets pushed when you shut the door. AFT switch. Automatic fine tuning, I think. And there are some weird looking connectors. Oh, look at that, another thing. And there's a plastic clip there. Now look at that. It yoinks out. Is this the actual tuner stuff? Oh no, there's so many wires under there, all tied together. Maybe we should cut some cable ties. We'll get a bit rough and loose with it. And they keep moving out of the way. Whoa, look at all that good stuff. Look, there's the power supply part. 2 windings coming off the transformer. Maybe it is the same. It's not the same transformer. It's similar. And then rectifier, there's a relay there. Smoothing capacitor. And then various circuits that form power regulators with wires going off to those external transistors and the like. And then we got this tuner thingy. This is a pre-selector, and this is a pre-setter and channel selector. Pre-setter. And what is this? It's a tuner and IFPWB printed wiring board. The spider webs in this thing. Okay, I think that's the only board there. It's got a metal box on it for the tuner stuff. And then all the clock business must be on the front. What is on the front? Because it is on the front. Will this hinge down? Or maybe. I think we're supposed to take the bottom off as well though. Okay, so this thing's a TU22 tuner adapter. Whoa, look at that. We can see the stuff from the bottom. Yeah, look at that. Tuner business. Oh, it's a Matsushita branded box there, which is interesting because that's the Panasonic head brand. Bottom of the power regulator battery charger board. What do they call it? Rig. Tuner business there. Now if we look on the front, the timer business. Does this come off now? Yep. Whoa, look at that. Oh, it's in multiple stages. All wires that need undoing. There's a little clock part there. It's its own special unit, separate from the rest, called a timer PWB. She says a timer. Interesting. Ah, yeah, that's right. That's the channel selector buttons, and then it goes through these wires to that thing there, which does the selecting. This be latching somewhere. Maybe that's done down on this. There's a microcontroller there, an NEC microcontroller. So maybe that does the actual like latching of which one gets pulled down by these buttons. And it looks like the LEDs are in parallel. So the button must push it in a certain direction, and then the microcontroller senses that and then yoinks on the line, which makes the LED come on. Let's say it was something like that. Use the active low to turn the LEDs on according to the LED direction printed on there. Some cunning, funny business going on there. Let's look at the clock board. The timer board. Look at that. The timer board. Ah, and it looks like it's got a special power supply. A very special power supply. This little unit here to create the voltages. I think that's what's going on there. Like the filament voltages. Yeah, from there to there, and it probably creates the grid voltage as well off of whatever this voltage here is, 25 volt cap. So it'll be something similar. So does this have actual programming? Oh no, all those buttons fell out. It does, it says start stop, so I think it's a one program timer. So this must have the ability to pull a line high or low once it reaches the set time, presumably on a set day, because it has day button. You can see them down there, the two extra thingies. Oh, so that's interesting. It's just a free floating VFD, not actually restrained by anything. It just sits in there using this little carrier board from the VFD to wire links to this board, special microcontroller under there, NEC branded thing, and a bunch of capacitors that look like they're being warm. And I said just one connector to run the whole thing. It's held in by two screws. It's very sort of agricultural, not so integrated like what you see in other or newer equipment. I wonder if the same timer unit was used on some other JVC VCRs. Yeah, so that way it didn't need a separate transformer because it's just using a little converter thing to do the special VFD voltages. A little DC to DC converter that's surprisingly still working. We haven't looked at them yet, but the Sony Beta VCRs, they're always ruined because of the little DC converter modules that they've got just overheat and wreck themselves. But JVC one's still awesome. Yeah, that's the wire that goes to the timer board. Yeah, and that's just an array of switches coming out of that bottom board, which make this quite hard to align and get back into position. Okay, that's not easy to get on. Awesome. Just put that back quickly before it falls off again with some kind of screws. There is a look inside some interesting things. The JVC TU22, was it? Yeah, TU22 tuner adapter, and its accompanying VCR, VHS Portable VCR HR-2200. Hopefully that was interesting. These things are quite cumbersome for supposedly lightweight portable equipment. So hopefully that was an interesting look inside those things, and I think next time we'll dig into the video cameras that go with this and see what they're all about. And then after that, got another set, a more fancy set of JVC portable VCR and tuner, and other cameras, so we'll look at those. And then I think we got more, 4 or so different sets of these JVC VCRs and tuners to get through. So stay tuned for that. So till then,